Hello there, Beard here.
Hello there and welcome back to episode 2 of Mutton for Punishment. Glorious name. Well done. I think it was it Rich Bream or Simon Matless that came up with that name for me?
Oh, I don't remember.
I don't know, I'll have to check that. But whoever did it, it was wonderful. So, we had a look at the captain and the mascot yesterday. Let's have a look at the exclusive players for the Shepherd's Guild. Let's start with the good boys or the good girls. I'm not entirely sure because mascots never get gender. They're not mascots, are they? They're animals.
No, they're squaddies.
Hook and Crook. So Hook and Crook are ostensibly a single squaddy across 2 models, like Think, Avarice and Greed, or Brain Pam the Memory. I'm going to start at the very back of their card because I think this is important to note. So when you're doing your team selection, either on the roster or for your actual game, they are a matched pair. Hook and Crook come together. They are activated simultaneously. So when you activate Hook, Crook activates as well. And you don't have to do all of Hook and then Crook or vice versa. You can alternate between the 2. And interestingly, they are worth 1 VP each. Got it? Right.
Yeah.
That's could be what I don't know if the version that we're looking at now is the final version that's going to go out. I think that wording may be addressed. But let's now go back to the front of the card. They are the first 1-inch models that we've seen in the game, or sorry, for the guild. Fair enough, really. It's a dog and a Welsh Border Collie by the looks of it. 6'8" move. They're nippy.
They're fast.
They're fast. I think it's important to note, so I haven't really made it clear, Hook and Crook ostensibly have exactly the same cards, apart from one, Hook's card refers to Crook, Crook's card refers to Hook.
Yep, that's it. They're identical models.
Yeah, 6'8" move, tack 5, nice. No, I'm fan of tack 5. 2-6 kick, yeah, fair enough, it is a dog. Defense 4-0, fine. Like, we've not seen any armor so far in the guild. I don't imagine why we'd start now with these 2. 1-2 influence. All right, so they bring together. They still bring 2. They still bring 2 influence, as I would expect a squaddy to do. But
well, you say that. That's more than normal for a Reaper squaddy.
That is true, actually. That is true. They just can only be given 2 each, but that's still 4 collectively.
Yeah, they're a 2-4 model. But that's still better than the normal 1-4
That's still better than most
Reapers.
Reapers. That is true. The playbook is good. There's a lot of
really
orange.
Good.
So Momentous 2-on-1, sticking with that farmer standards. Momentous push play on 2. Nice to have a push on 2. Momentous double push on 3. Now we're talking. A tackle on 3, a knockdown on 4, and then momentous 3 damage on 4, momentous 4 damage on 5.
If you can get a situation where you've got a knockdown singled out model, Hook and Crook will just eat it to pieces.
I think potentially these are output models in the game, in the guild. These are not battery pieces. Onto the character plays. Hook has one called Come By. Crook has one called Away to Me. This is a sheep herding reference, if you're in any way unfamiliar. I don't know, is this an English thing? Do they use it? So Come By, if I remember rightly, is go left, and Away to Me is go right.
I had no idea.
Yeah, like there used to be in the 80s, before you were a glint in the moose's eye, a TV show called One Man and His Dog on BBC 2, which was effectively competitive sheep herding, which may go some way to say the quality of television that we had in this channel in this country in the 80s. But there we go. So Come By, which is the one on Hook, I suspect these may just get referred to as dog dodge from now on. Come By means Hook can dodge 4 inches away from a friendly Crook. And Away to Me on Crook means that Crook can dodge 4 inches away from a friendly Hook. That's not easy. Like it makes sense when with models on the pitch. Like this like this character play makes this dodge away from that one, not directly away. I hasten to add.
Oh, good point. Oh, that's going to be a pain.
Like this is
How does
effectively
dodge away work?
as long as you are the H point being a further distance away from the starting point, you're fine. It's exactly think of it as what's Friday's ability that makes Scum go to Friday?
Get over here.
It's get over here in reverse.
Yeah, I guess the difference is like it's actually I know there's a lot of jank and annoying things around it, but like you still have an end point.
Yes. Yeah.
With dodging away,
it's a bit more nebulous.
It's basically a free dodge in any direction.
Yeah.
Forwards.
As long as you are moving away from the other dog, you're fine.
Yeah. You can even dodge them around behind you, potentially.
The other thing to note that leaps out from me is this play doesn't have a range. So if
that's good.
Like even if they're at the other end of the pitch, I can still dodge away from them, even if we're completely the other side from one another.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like it's choose a friendly hook within 4 inches, make a 4-inch dodge away from them. It's wherever they are, which is very nice and sheep herdy, I think.
I'm curious how often you'll use this play. Because spending one of your 2 influences on additional move seems quite pricey for them. But that being said, it does mean they can go very fast.
They can go very, very fast and very, very far.
And have a 6-inch kick, which surprised me.
There's nothing wrong with it, because with bonus time, you're looking, 3-6 shot on goal isn't terrible, because you're effectively
or just being able to clear the ball better than like. That's the big problem I have with a 4-inch kick is it's just you get to the ball, but you can never kick it far enough away that the opponent can't get it back.
For sure. Their second character play they both share, thankfully, which is Howl, which they can trigger momentously on 2, which is if target enemy model is in possession of the ball, it loses possession of the ball, perform a circular scatter.
Solid.
It's okay. It's like
situational.
Like 6 in 36 of the possible results will mean that the ball snaps back to the original target.
Yeah. I will say that
I could have just said 1 in 6, couldn't I?
This team does not seem to have problems with popping resilience.
No, because like the thing I really like about this is it's you can attack someone and then use Howl on a model 6 inches away. So that's it's going to be really, really good for, like you say, triggering resilience, or if someone's stuck, I don't know, Friday in cover, and is killing the ball there. This can certainly knock the ball loose, and that's where I think Away to Me and Come in, because you can potentially then have a 10-inch move to try and retrieve the ball.
Yeah, as much as I said, like the captain and the pig were really solid and very like kind of straightforward how you want to use them. Hook and Crook are not.
They're mental.
Incredibly complicated models that have
a
million different things going on, and they, to me, I think they are going to be the heart of whether this team is insanely good or just a solid team.
Yeah, it's fair, and much
like it's hard to tell right now.
And much like Herder, they are flexible because I am the damage player of this podcast. Hook and Crook, to me, it may say TAC 5, but I've got my own personal crowd out wherever I want it. Like these models might as well be TAC 6. They kind of remind me of BPM in that respect.
Well, you know what else is really interesting though is that was my first thought. And then I think of like you're playing against a football-y team. Normally you have to like spread out and sacrifice positioning. You can just put one of these on each wing.
Yep.
Not even too far away. And like they can then, if they're each on the wing, they can then use their come by type thing to dodge 4 inches further out towards the wing potentially, and then go grab the ball and pass it. So their like ability as a first go grab the ball, pass it back to your team without really sacrificing anything is really strong. And they also have more health than Horizon.
Yeah, 9 health is. I mean, 9 health is shallow for a squaddy, certainly, especially a 4-0 squaddy. But they
Yeah.
only give up one VP.
It not being 8 is massive.
Yeah.
Because
The
Horizon's 8, and so often it's just Mom 2, Mom 2, Mom 2, Mom 2. This squatty has killed you.
mm,
Whereas, like, squatties will not kill these ones as easily unless they're proper damagey ones.
the big issue, I think, the difference between Hook and Crook and Horizon is that their recovery level is at 5, as opposed to Horizon, who comes back
Yes.
with 8. However, turning to the back of their cards, herding. Like I was reading the front of their cards. I was like, cool. These guys are my damage pieces. I've got 2 of them. I can put 4 influence on them, get 8 momentous damage out of a number of attacks. And then I saw herding. So once per turn, during this model's activation, it may choose a friendly harvest marker within 4 inches, remove it from the pitch, choose an enemy model within 4 inches. That model is pushed 3 inches. Diceless. Just
Yep.
And also
Expensive.
expensive, but
And
diceless,
positioning heavy.
and they both have it.
Yeah.
That's 6 inches of diceless push. Like,
Yeah, I think surfing someone off the edge, the opponent has to play pretty terribly for that to happen. Because the positioning requirements are actually quite tough. But using that to pull a model 6 inches into a scrum, or to pull one model in and to push, say, someone like Granite or Knuckles out, so they aren't costing you all those crowd out things, is very good.
Who knew the sheepdogs would be good at herding people around?
Yes.
Now, as someone that plays predominantly morticians and brewers, where the gameplay that I tend to play is one of positional control and dictating the scrum, these guys are amazing. Like,
oh, they're so good into aura teams.
yeah, like blacksmiths. Like, cool, you've got iron covered by burnish. No, you don't. It's not a play. It's so good.
Yeah, they're so good so such good anti-burnish tech because you push it out and then you buy Howl.
Yeah. And on this podcast, we're big fans of anti-burnish tech.
Indeed.
The one area where I think the aura team to beware is Ox Butchers, purely because he will get the owner up so fast against one of these poor dogs.
Yeah.
And then with no armor on your team, spoiler, there's no armor on this team. You're going down quickly. So Ox Butchers, I would be wary. But then,
butchers do feel like a bit of a tough one, but then again, I think I think this team does have the goal ability to just get those goals in and just win the 3-0
and to be honest,
way.
I think you're playing Hook and Crook on the wings.
Yeah.
Whether that's different wings or the same wing. I mean, they're sheepdogs. They should be on the outside, pushing everything towards the middle.
Yeah, I like the idea of them playing on separate wings a lot of the time for that reason, because then, like, your opponent can't clear the ball away from them. There's one on each side, and they go at the same time. So no matter which side you pass to, that ball's getting knocked loose.
So the last rule on their card, again, they both have it, is their punishment mechanic, which is littermates. So if one gets taken out, the other gains furious and +4 tack.
So this is one I do think you'll see the legendary getting used on.
Yes, you will.
And again, also one that is really valuable when you have get back in there.
Yep.
+4 tack and furious means you're rolling 11 dice on the charge, and you have Mom 6 on 6.
Where are you getting 11 from, mate? Like, they are rolling...
Oh yeah, 13. My bad.
They're rolling 13 dice on the charge.
You're hitting that Mom 6.
Yeah.
Potentially a lot more if set up.
Or even just
Mom 6 for free.
It's really good. It's like in any guild where you don't have a damage buff, anything that gives you more dice effectively is your damage buff.
Yeah.
It's
especially when you got 2-on-1.
Yeah.
It makes wraps just vicious.
Like if you go in with that charge and you hit a knockdown the Mentus 2, the opponent should worry. And that's only what six net hits on 13 dice. Doesn't feel impossible at all, especially if it's furious. Moving on to Ram then. Unless there's anything you want to say about Hook and Crook?
Nope. Other than I think they're really good, and you'll probably see them a lot.
Yeah,
but I don't necessarily think they're going to be in every 6 because they do have some weaknesses. But you're going to see them a lot.
Yeah, especially against the big explosive fighty teams. Like they may be. I mean, again, Ox feels the most obvious one because although he's only getting 1 VP for the kill, he is getting other benefits as well. And of course, that goes for veteran Ox just as easily. Ram, then, who's probably the model that sort of, I don't know, pinged everyone's radar when we saw it. This giant, gnarly goat. 2-inch melee, good. 5/7 move, not terrible.
Faster than I thought.
Yeah, attack 5, solid. 3/6 kick, good. We and morticians call that a striker. Defense 3, armor 0, fine. Influence 2, 3, okay. Again, we're seeing the big model in a minor guild be a 2/3 influence, like your azimuths, your veteran hands, your benedictions and stuff. Playbook kind of reminds me of Brick in a way. Momentous knockdown on 1, 2 damage on 1, which for a planter is standard. Momentous push on 2, momentous double push on 3, lovely. Tackle on 4, 3 damage on 5. So kind of plowman-y, actually.
It's not as good. I mean, it's not an insane. It is very plowman-y, actually. It's not a crazy playbook.
I mean, a knockdown on 1, I always like to see.
That's basically the playbook to me. Is 2-inch reach, momentous knockdown on 1, decent counterattack. Not amazing, but decent.
Solid.
That's scary for a Jakar, less so for a Fillet. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, really just 2-inch reach, momentous knockdown on 1. In a guild that, if you look at the dogs, no knockdown and good output. And the captain, the knockdown is not momentous. So yeah, I think we'll get to the rest of the card, but obviously a planter, so dropping harvest markers. So I think going first and knocking down a couple models and putting down your harvest markers is a pretty good go.
That's not, I suppose a little bit ghastly.
Yeah. Not doesn't have the "don't hit me" defensive tech that Gas.
No. But why would he? But yeah, just I'm going to go first. Knock down 3 people. That's half your team. Deal with it. Oh, you've got Peg, right? Impetus feels incredibly situational.
Yeah.
So I mean, we've seen it before. It's good. Like sometimes you want to go 2 extra inches.
Yeah, it's a lot less relevant on Ram than it is on Iron.
Or Hammer.
Or Hammer, yeah, just because of the influence cap.
Mm.
But if your opponent has a striker in goal threat and you have 3 influence and doing impetus and charging can hit the knockdown and save the game, it's worth it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does not feel like you will be using it very often.
No. Guard the flock, however.
Woo!
Now, one thing that really surprised me about this model is it's 40 millimeters. This is not a 50.
What?
Yeah, like this is a 40 millimeter, or at least on the
I am
card,
worried about that.
Like at least on the card that we have in front of us, this is a 40 millimeter model. Maybe this is like Mule in reverse, where I mean everything about this model and the render I've seen tells me it should be a 50 millimeter model.
No, that's what happened with Mule too, right? He said 40, but then was actually 50.
Yeah, so maybe I'm hoping for a Mule errata. On this one, but yeah, Guard the Flock, a 2-inch model on a 2-inch melee model on a 40 millimeter base or 50, hopefully, that can hand out Protective Instinct is very good if you want to kill more.
You can hand it out to the mascot, and then the opponent has to hit the mascot, and if they do damage to the mascot, you get Loved Creature.
Oh, I hadn't even thought of that. That's hilarious.
Yep, it's funny. I mean, you probably don't do that because they probably just walk away from the mascot, but it's still funny. Ironically, I do think although it's cool, you can hand it out to anyone.
Hmm.
I do think the Ram herself is probably the best target most of the time.
Yes.
Because of the knockdown, the 2-inch reach.
Mm.
Being able to put protective instincts on your captain's pretty cool.
Oh,
especially,
I've thought of a use for impetus. But finish
yeah.
your protective instinct on Herder because
Basically, she's just got the best counter attack on the
that's
team.
very
So,
true.
so it's not terrible.
So impetus.
There's interesting stuff.
Do you know where impetus is really good?
Where?
When you're coming back from on the edge of the pitch.
Oh yeah, good point.
Which if
you have
you're
the influence to spare.
no, I mean if you're using the plot card. So
Yeah.
if Herder pops, if Herder tells Ram to go for a rest and then immediately comes back on, having the impetus to actually get 9 inches back in and do
Yeah, that's fair.
is very, very useful. 24 health.
Is that the most in the game?
No, I think Grange is 26.
Oh yeah, well, most for a squaddy now, I think.
It's got to be the biggest squaddy. I mean, what would be...
Wendell got nerfed. Well, not nerfed, but his health got nerfed.
Miners had... No, yeah, Fisher is 20.
Wendell is 22.
Wendell's got 22. Brick, I feel, might be up there. He's
no, because he's got tough hide.
19 still.
God, he is tough.
Fangtooth is 22. So I can't think of anything with 24 health.
Anvil is 21.
Anvil
yeah, I think it's the most for.
Anvil is 21.
Hearth is 23. Interesting. Didn't know that.
So
but
still
yes,
the most.
24 health is a lot.
That's the chunkiest squaddy we know. If feel
3-0,
free to leave a comment if you
melt.
She's going down.
Yeah, but not that quickly. Again, a lot of these models are really good. Like, they die really fast into teams under Ox Aura or Vet Rage Aura or whatnot, but they do not go down very quickly for, like, your good but not great damage dealers, like, say, a Brick, who can, like, pretty reliably do 3 damage a swing against them, and that only takes half their health.
It's like it's like when I go, well, Hooper can kill them this quickly. That's great. Hooper can kill anyone in the game.
Yeah.
Like that's in the
but
same
like,
way, like
models, yeah, exactly. But say Decimate, who is quite killy, will not kill Ram.
No, and also that Scalpel probably isn't going to kill Ram.
Yeah, that's a good point. Captains that kind of like peter out after a while. Even Fillet, like, I don't think kills Ram.
It depends with that legendary
without setup.
And also having the bleed and the tool up and stuff like that.
Yeah, if you've tooled up, I think she probably does.
But if
you go
point,
first without tooled up, I don't think you do.
If you're spending 6 to 8 influence on a captain activation to kill Ram, fine.
And we'll get to why that's a bad idea.
Yeah. Turning over to the back of the card, battering Ram is exactly the same as battering Ram, but it's 4 inches instead of 2 inches.
This is insane.
It's so good. Like, whether you're doing my patented beardering Ram at the beginning of the game, where you just run the model down the back line of your team and nudge them forwards.
Yeah, so this is basically Festival's legendary turn 1.
Yeah,
in some ways.
Pretty much, yeah. Especially when you consider her next ability, Flock, which is when when Ram ends an advance, another friendly model within 4 can make a 2-inch push. So 2-inch dodge. Sorry.
Yeah.
2-inch dodge. So first time in the game, if you just run Ram down your back line, the other 6 models in your team go forward 4 inches, and one of them
you might use Impetus turn 1.
That's true, actually. Just for the battering Ram. I mean, but you'd need 2 influence for a 9-inch sprint.
But it might be worth it depending on what you're up against.
But pushing, the vast majority of your team 4 inches forward, and
4 inches is huge,
and one of them 6 inches forward because of Flock.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's absolutely massive.
Yeah, and what's so, like, the front of Ram's card's solid.
All right.
But not spectacular. Protective Instinct is quite good, though. But the back of Ram's card has me convinced this is the linchpin model of the guild.
Yeah. So her punishment
Other than the
mechanic.
captain.
Yeah, the punishment mechanic of "Have you any wool?" Top quality name. So
Yeah, good
when
name.
this model suffers the taken out condition, friendly models gain +2 armor for the range of the turn. For a guild that we've continuously said their principal weakness is their lack of armor, this is hilarious.
This makes them pretty much unkillable.
Because they're just
yeah.
unkillable outside of the guilds whose principal function is death. And
Even then, though.
even then, they're going to have to sink a lot of resources into making it happen.
Yeah, yeah, I actually think this is probably the one you'll use most often with the legendary.
I'm saying if I have the plot cards of Get Back in there in hand, and I'm getting into turn 2, turn 3, and that scrum is about to form, I'm going with Herder. I am killing Ram. I'm bringing them straight back on with impetus, and my entire team can be 4 2s and 3s and 2s, and Ram is probably getting back into the fight to a point where they're relevant because they have a 2-inch melee zone.
So, interesting thing. You're playing against Festival.
Okay.
So Festival's going to legendary at you, right? Whole team's going to run forward. So first activation, Ram, impetus, sprint, bumps your whole team up, pushes your captain an extra 2. Next activation, captain kills Ram. Your whole team is 4 inches up the pitch and has 2 armor.
Yep.
Good luck fighting that.
And the thing is, I still have 6 models. I still have 6 models on the pitch if I've got Hook and Crook. Mainly, I still only have 5 activations, but I still have 6 models.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, if you just do Ram first activation of the game and just knock your whole team up, and then second activation you kill her, most teams are not really threatening to do that much on the second activation of the game. Again, you're not going to do this against football-y guilds. But also, just having your whole team have 2, if like a first activation, if you're like clinging on for life, like your opponent's at 8 and you're at like 4 or 6, and you just are like, I cannot score the ball right now. Having Herder go, put up, protect the ball, and kill the thing. So Herder's now a 4-2 close control.
Yep.
Like, that is not an easy model to get. Or fucking the pig being a 5-2 close control. Yeah. Good luck getting that ball unless you've got, like, Vetsakana or Vetsakana. Like, it's probably got to be Vetsakana.
Crucible?
Yeah, but even then you're rolling 5s.
Yeah, that doesn't feel good.
No, but yeah, I think Ram is absolutely bonkers.
And what a brilliant model. I can't wait to paint this thing. I really can't. Last ability on their card, planting season. You know it, you love it, have a harvest marker. However, this is our first 40mm planter. Oh no, sorry, veteran honor. Although she she puts hers down within 4 inches anyway, so it's not really the point I'm making. But a 40mm within 2 is a much better thing than a 30mm within 2, as hopefully now everyone has realised now that they've played minors for a year.
This model will be in every 6.
100%. It's an auto include. It has to be. Like, it does. Also, like, bear in mind with Herder, if you use take a rest or whatever it was called, forgive me, I forget. Go rest. If they're above their recovery points, they're coming back with the same amount of health. So if you're killing Ram with 24 health, I mean, I should probably stop saying killing because we're not killing it. If you're taking out rest up, that's it. If you're using rest up on Ram at 24 health, she comes back on with 24 health.
Yeah.
And angry.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, like, you don't need to use it as an anti-jailing or anti your team is getting killed.
You can use it very actively.
Yeah, just using it to give your entire team 2 armor is just like, that's better than Honor's Legendary or Blackheart's Legendary. And as a guy who plays a lot of football-y teams, those legendaries can lose you the game when your opponent
100%.
is holding on to the ball.
100%. Right, we shall leave it there for episode 2. We'll see you in a minute for episode 3.